Hello. Hi, I'm sorry. I know I haven't. Hi, I hope everyone's having an amazing, wonderful day and night. Everyone is full of smiles. Quisp, thank you so much for your resub. Thank you so much. I I really appreciate it. Um, and um, hi. I'm very sorry about Friday last week. I'm sorry. Anyway, we're gonna move on now. Tonight is All Hallows Eve, and we're gonna be reading some spooky stories, and I'm gonna let you guys choose which one we're gonna read. I don't know if we are gonna get through the whole story, but we'll see depending on how long it is. We're gonna vote on some creepy pastas. So yeah, let's jump right in. Asterion is saving us from our Twitch overlords today, so there's that. I am okay. I feel like shit. Spooky noodles, but I was like, gotta stream, especially after that whole thing last week. I was like, Anyway, I love streaming. I missed you guys too. Alright. So I'm just gonna read you the titles of the story and then we're gonna vote on them. Why am I gonna cry? Thank you for your parasocial hugs. Okay, so the spooky stories that you guys can choose from. I don't know how good these ones are. I have read some creepypastas before, and particularly these are ones I have not read. These are on the trending page right now. So we have Dead Mall, The Disappearance of Ashley, Kansas, The Russian Sleep Experiment, Normal Porn for Normal People, and Who Was a Phone? Fuck! This damn cowboy hat. Alright, hold on. Let me get a cowboy hat. You're so right. That's on me. That's on me, Chief. That's on me, for real, for real. Wait, can we get a Halloween cowboy hat? Alright, we got one vote for Russian Sleep Experiment. Maybe I should put Scary Cowboy Hat in. Put my darn tootin' hat on. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I gotta find a scary one. Alright. Okay. What if... Wait, okay, let me put PNG. Is this a PNG? Yeah, this is good. This is a good one. Alright. Save image as cowboy. Damn, hitting me right in the chest. How rude. How rude. Alright. I gotta go away for a minute, okay? I gotta go away. Oh my god, Alright. That's the wrong... Okay. Let's see. We need to do Oh gosh, where is it? Okay, open data folders. Put the hat on Asterion. That would be pretty funny. Alright. Items, scenes. No, that's not it. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. Items. That's where it goes. It goes in items. Okay. And then let me open another folder. File Explorer. A piggy. A little piggy. A little piggy. Alright. No, why is the... Oh, there it is. It came up. Alright. Alright, it should be good now. And now I can do this. And then we're almost there. We're getting there. Thank you for your patience. I can't believe I forgot. I'm so glad I got the reminder this time. Okay. Alright. Actually, this kind of works surprisingly. I'm like, okay, this works kind of well, weirdly. Alright. Here we go. Here's the cowboy hat. Hell yeah. Forge and Fire. Forge and Fire is pretty cool. Yeehaw! Oh my goodness. Oh, what is it called? Did you know? Maybe my next outfit will be y'all. I'll get a y'all alternative style outfit, so I'll be a goth cowgirl. Cause y'all alternative. Did you guys know that y'all alternative is a real style? Did you guys know that? Y'all alternative is pretty cool. Anyway, I cannot wait for this. Hey, I said maybe. Look, we gotta debut the first model first, alright? What? It's literally just goth cowgirl. It's literally, y'all alternative is goth cowgirl. That's literally what it is. It's crazy. Look at, you just Google y'all alternative. I don't know, but that's what it's called. Okay, so we have one vote for Russian sleep experiment. If I don't hear any other opinions, we're gonna do Russian sleep experiment. Ooh, ooh. Alright. Do the sleep one? We're gonna do the sleep one. I was very surprised you guys didn't say normal board for normal people. No offense. I'm glad we went with this option. I was just surprised by the lack of degeneracy. TBH. Alright. Can I make this bigger because I'm blind? Oh, maybe I won't be able to read this. I'm fucking blind. Can I fucking zoom in? Oh, what the fuck have I done? Okay, hold on. It's something, am I right? I know, it's something. Wait, guys. Okay, I gotta make this bigger. Can I view source? Oh my god, that's worse. Why can't I just make the font bigger? Wait, guys, how do I zoom in on my desktop? I know you can do that. Wait, let me Google the zoom in button. Zoom in. Oh. How to? Using cube open. Okay, hold control and scroll. Okay. Oh, I got it for a second. Oh, okay. Alright, this is much better. I can see this now. It is not Alt F4. Normal corner is next. 5 years? Damn. Alright. Here we go. Spoopy time. oopie, 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 beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, 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 beep, boo. All right. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas-based stimulant. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them, since it was toxic in high concentrations. This was before closed circuit cameras, so they only had microphones and 5-inch. Fuck you, but thank you for the 100 bits. Fuck. This was before closed circuit cameras, so they only had microphones and 5-inch thick glass porthole-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books and cots to sleep on, but no bedding, as well as a running water, a toilet, and enough dried food to last all 5 for over a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II. Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised falsely that they would be freed if they submitted to the test and did not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic accidents in their past. The general tone of their conversations took a darker aspect after the 4-day mark. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. They stopped talking to each other and began alternatively whispering into the microphones and the one-way mirrored portholes. Oddly, they all seemed to think they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected this was an effect of the gas itself. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber repeatedly, yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight, at which point they continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords. The most surprising thing about this behavior was how the other captives reacted to it, or rather, didn't react. They continued whispering into the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The 2 non-screaming captives took the books apart, smeared page after page with their own feces, and pasted them calmly over the glass portholes. The screaming promptly stopped. So, the whispering into the microphones. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working. Since they thought it impossible that no sound could be occurring with 5 people inside, the oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 still must be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the people they were afraid were either dead or vegetables. They announced, "We are opening the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom." To their surprise, they heard a calm voice respond in a single phrase, "We no longer want to be freed." Debate broke out among the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day. The chamber was flushed of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones, to turn the gas back on. The chamber was open and the soldiers were sent to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly call the state that any of them in life. The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meat from the dead test subjects' thighs and chests stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber, blocking it and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined. All 4 surviving test subjects also had large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of flesh and exposed bone on their fingertips indicated that wounds were inflicted by hand, not by teeth, as the researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and angles of the wounds indicated that most of them, if not all of them, were self-inflicted. The abdominal organs below the ribcage of all 4 test subjects had been removed, while the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place. The skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the ribcage. All the blood vessels and organs remained intact, but had been taken out of and laid on the floor, fanning out around the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working. Digesting food, it quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh that they had ripped off and eaten over the course of days. Most of the soldiers were Russian special operatives at the facility, but still, many refused to return to the chamber to remove the test subjects. The subjects themselves continued to scream to be left in the chamber and begged and demanded that the gas be turned back on, lest they fell asleep. To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out, and another was gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subjects' teeth. Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives, if you count the ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident. Holy crap! In the struggle, one of the four living subjects had his spleen ruptured and bled out almost immediately. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of a morphine derivative and still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the ribs and arm of one doctor. His heart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he had bled out, to the point where there was more air in his vascular system than blood. Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and just repeating the word "more" over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent. The surviving 3 test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility, the 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for the gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative they had given him to prepare him for surgery. He fought furiously against the restraints with the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even through the weight of a 200-pound soldier holding that wrist. It only took a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had triple the normal level of oxygen. The muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in his struggle to not be subdued. Most of them were from the force of his own muscles he had exerted on them. Jesus. The second survivor had been the first of the group of the 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed, He was unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval when the anesthetic gas was brought near him. He shook his head yes when someone suggested reluctantly that they should try the surgery without anesthetic, and did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should not be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched so the patient could write his message. It was simple. Keep cutting. The other 2 test subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well, although they had been injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation. The surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Once paralyzed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared the system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moments they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they wanted to be given the gas again. Only one response was given: I must remain awake. All 3 subjects' restraints were reinforced with what they were placed back into the chamber, awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the started goals of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subjects. The commanding officer, an ex-KGB, instead saw potential and wanted to see what would have happened if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for a long-time confinement. To everyone's surprise, all 3 stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going to be back on the gas. It was obvious that at this point, all 3 were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all his might, first left, then right, then left again for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired to the EEG machine, most of the researchers were monitoring his brainwaves in surprise. They were normal most of the time, but sometimes flatlined inexplicably. It looked as if he were repeatedly suffering brain death before returning to normal. As they focused on paper scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw the man's eyes slip shut at the same moment his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped. The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwaves showed the same flat lines as the one who had just died from falling asleep. It was the commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as all 3 researchers. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes, then turned the gun on the mute subject and blew his brains out as well. He pointed the gun at the remaining subjects still restrained on the bed as the remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. I won't be locked in here with these things, not with you, he screamed at the man strapped to the table. What are you, he demanded. I must know. The subject smiled. Have you forgotten so easily, the test subject asks. We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be freed at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis as you go to the nocturnal haven, where we cannot tread. The researchers paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out. So, nearly free. Yay! Yay! That was the Russian sleep experiment. Yay! What do we think? Did you guys enjoy that? Did you enjoy the spookiness? It was pretty dark. It was a lot of body horror. Body horror doesn't bother me that much. Like, I don't mind. Like, body horror is meh, you know, compared to like other types of horror for me. Like, psychological horror can fuck me up. I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was fun. It was fun. I like the concept of you stay awake so long that then if you fall asleep you die, but you can't ever go back to normal. Shudders, ew. Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. Um okay. So, we have some more stories to choose from. Hi, Sun Eater. How are you doing? I hope you have an amazing, wonderful day and night. Wherever you are, so smiles. Welcome to the shit show. Um, let's see. I did EP porn. Oh man, we gotta do the porn one. Okay, I don't know. I might have to say corn because I don't want to get banned if I have to say it that many times. Okay. Ooh, wait. We might not be able to read this because of the warning on it. Hold on. Um. All right. Well, we'll read it and we'll replace the P word with corn. And then if it gets too bad, I might have to stop reading it, but we'll see. This one might fuck me up really bad. But if that's the case, I'm gonna go get some pretty swanky dessert. All right, I'm gonna treat myself. All right, and we're gonna read some spooky stories. Okay, yeah, I'll stop if it gets too bad. Um, or even if it gets me bannable bad. Um, but then yeah, so I will be back in a few minutes. Enjoy the sounds of spookiness while you wait for me to return. Mwahaha! Mwahaha! Oh my goodness, I just got back. Different story? Okay. Sounds good, Chief. Different story. I got my last piece of Halloween cake, and we got some chalky milk. So we're gonna vibe. We're gonna do a different story though. Okay. So we have our options. Our dead mall. Almost I feel like I read a bunch of these. Fart. The disappearance of Ashley, Kansas, or who was a phone? That's what we got. I'm personally leaning towards disappearance of Ashley, Kansas, but that's just me and my thoughts. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm still on the be right back screen. Sorry, I forgot to click off. Mubby. Mubby. Alright, well, I think we're gonna do disappearance. Yeah. I figured too it was because of the delay, so I was like, you know. Alright. We're gonna eat this cake. I warmed it up. Do you guys like warm cake? I have a problem where like I hate unless it's like a snack. Like I don't know, I just hate a lot of room temperature stuff. It has to either be cold or warm, and it usually has to be like super hot. Is it that bad, San? Well, thank you for checking it. I appreciate it. I figured it was gonna be bad. I just didn't know how bad. Oh, true. Anything but ice cream cake for me. I prefer warmed up. You know? Don't warm up ice cream cake. That's a bad idea. Thank you, San, for proofreading. And saving me from the ban hammer. Ooh, wah. Maybe. Oh, really? That's not that bad. The Banmer. Yeah, the Banmer. That's a funny one. Alright. I'm sorry. I'm definitely finishing this cake, and then we'll start. Oh, yeah. Glad we're not reading that one. That's a no-no. That'll get me banned. Alright. Let's go. Okay, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. You know what? Nope, no more. We're gonna read The Disappearance of Ashley, Kansas now. It's a little kooky. Oh, you just read it? Okay. Okay. Alright. Sometime during the night of August 16th, 1952, the small town of Ashley, Kansas ceased to exist. Oh, I've already read this one. Fuck. I already read this one. Never mind. I did. Oh my gosh, thank you for the reminder. Also, thank you everyone. Natural One is over 400 views. Isn't that so cool? Can we get to 500? That would be pretty pog, but I don't know. 400 is pretty amazing. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. I've already started working on my next song, so it'll be pretty cool. It'll be pretty cool. I'm excited. Yay. Ooh, maybe I ate that too fast. Whoa. Maybe it was just I think that was just too much sugar for my body to handle. That's crazy. Oh my god, let's not throw up on stream, Ash. Anyway, I think I've read all of these other than the porn ones. Oh no, I haven't read Who Is a Phone. We'll see what this one is just because I haven't read it. I forgot. I read the Ashley, Kansas one. I'm sorry. It wouldn't be scary for me. It did. The song rolled a natural 20. Oh. Alright. Do you watch who? What? Do you watch who? Oh, horror movies? No, but mostly I'm just not a big movie person. Which is it's not like I don't have anything. I just like I'm just not a movie person, you know? Um but I enjoy horror movies, but I'm not I used to do some volunteering at like haunted houses and like behind the scenes and stuff, so I love haunted houses. They don't really scare me anymore, unfortunately, because like I've been behind the scenes, so I know what it's like, so it changes your perspective, but like I still love the artistry behind it, you know, and I love working them. So no, I haven't seen the first two actually, but I heard good things about Terrifier 3, but I haven't seen the first two. So I was like, well, what? Um Oh, really? Dang. I don't know. Low key, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get parasocial with you guys, but like, I've always had super horrific nightmares. Like, I'm talking like truly deepest, darkest pits of whatever fucking awful subconscious I have. So I don't know. That shit, like, I'm like, oh, damn, I woke up in another cold sweat. Well, guess I'll go to sleep again and wake up in another cold sweat 2 hours from now. Kind of thing. It's like, whatever. You know? So. Read some SCP stories. Okay, okay, we could do some SCP stuff. I also have a very vivid imagination, yeah. Alright. Oh wait, this story I think is like super, oh, this is like really short. It's like, okay, well, we'll read it. So here's the original version. We'll read the original first. Okay, so basically, it's like this. You're at a friend's house for like the night or whatever, and then you guys are making out on the couch. Yeah! And then like her dad calls on the phone and says, no, she likes it more if you use. I'm not finishing that. I'm not finishing that. I'll read this one though. So you're with your honey and you're making out when the phone rings. You answer it in the voice is, what are you doing with my daughter? You tell your girl and she say, my dad is dead. Then who was a phone? That's the whole story. The original version I can't read though because that's a little more, yeah. Yeah, it was really short. Um, I was like expecting more of these. I'm surprised that I've heard a bunch of these, but I guess I'm super into Creepcast, so TBH, that's probably why. Oopsies. Gonna out myself like that. Yeah, we can do scary SCPs. I know a little bit of SCPs, but not that much. If you have them, you could send them to me. That would be great, because I don't know really what I'm looking for when it comes to SCPs. I'm not as SCP in the know. SCO. Yeah. Okay. All right. Who let me be here and do this? I want to read at least one more, but I also don't want to my throat be going. Ow. Let's see. Or maybe we'll find a good copy pasta or creepy pasta. A link to bods of them being read. No. I want to read them. Yeah, I want to read them. Well, we can read Dead Mall. I haven't read Dead Mall. Yeah, we'll read Dead Mall. I haven't read that one. All right. All right. It was called Sleepy Pines Mall, a few miles off an interstate in America's Northeast, at the center of several small towns. It was a single story and only had 2 anchor stores, but it was sprawling considering its almost rural location. Built in 1973, it was one of the first older shopping malls and opened before there were long-term strategies on mall viability. Popular for a time, its occupancy dwindled in the late 90s, and it lost its movie theater and Sears by 2003, before becoming a neglected, poorly maintained, and sometimes dangerous commercial plaza that was outdone by nearby rivals and doomed by surrounding negative growth trends of the towns that kept it fed. The food court closed in 2006, and the last stores followed a year later. Sleepy Pines had its fans and grown adults who had gone there as children, paying its nostalgic visits. As all malls do, by the 2010, it had become a mostly forgotten derelict with a parking lot full of weeds. 10 years later, a lengthy demolition was in its final stages. I had been assigned the foreman of the construction of the building that would replace it, a large warehouse and distribution center for a major retailer. I would frequently pay the site a visit as the walls were torn down and the roof was gutted, myself having gone to the mall several times in my youth whenever my families were passing through the area, so I knew its layout well. By the winter of 2020, all that really remained of the structure was a back wall of its atrium, which once overlooked a fountain. A painted mural on tiles covered that wall. Efforts to save the artwork delayed its destruction several times, but enough funds were never procured to bring the wishes of perhaps only a few dozen to fruition. I'm no critic, but I always found it rather creepy. Anyway, European settlers amid a backdrop of pine trees with the natives they drove out now instead depicted as their friends. Their faces were plain and simple, their eyes staring off into a space where there was once a skylight. On the other hand, the trees looked like they were made by a different painter, one more talented. The pines were muted with their colors, but highly detailed with layers of darkness in the shadows where you might expect mischievous forest creatures to reside. The swirling intricate patterns of the nearly black paint took the forms of deranged beasts if you look closely enough. But I think it was just the artist having fun and not acting out with ill intent. It was like the vast majority of the shoppers would stand around and study the mural closely, not to when there were sales to be found and warm pretzels to be had. Now that the mural itself would be coming down soon, the ground on the next building was broken after the spring thaw. What little demolition remained was also yet put on hold while the earth was still frozen. I went to the site a few days after New Year's to get my last look at the public painting, exposed to the elements and surrounded by a landscape of snow. I checked in on the operations trailer while there, just to give my best wishes for 2021 to the guy in charge, who I'd gotten to know over the years from various other projects. "Hey, you still like that strange shit, right?" he asked me after a few minutes of us chatting about our holiday get-togethers. "Got something you'll love." My guys found it in there just before they left for the winter. Oh, sorry. "Got something you'll love. My guys found it in there just before they left for the winter. I'm no good with electronics, so you might as well see what you can do with it." He handed me a GoPro camera, an earlier model that I would later learn was from 2013. The little box was in bad condition, but I didn't take into consideration how bad at first. And it was true. I did collect oddities at yard sales with inexplicable backstories in my spare time. Oh, so he's a hoarder. It wasn't the camera itself that might rival some of my greatest finds. It was the potential of the footage on board it if it survived. If it could explain how the poor thing had been beaten into such bad shape, then the story of the object would be made all the better. I had a long winter ahead of me, with little else to do, so I figured I could spend a few nights cracking it open and seeing what was on its memory card. Jesus, I replied as I studied it in my hand. It's like it melted. Yeah, we dug it up and couldn't tell what it was at first. I have no idea if there was some kind of fire here, but it doesn't even look like burn damage. He made a good point. There was no sign of smoke, no bubbles in the material, no metal fatigue. It was like something had turned into clay and had gone and had its way with misshaping it into a twisted piece of art. The glass of its LCD screen and lens were intact, but the body was warped, stretched, and compressed as if by tiny fingers. Excuse me. If the memory card was still in one piece, I would never be able to pry it out. I'd have to carefully crack open the camera around it. Of course, I had a big collection of tools at home, so I knew I could do it. There was every chance the card was missing, or corrupted, or the data had been deleted, but now I was interested. I wanted to find out for certain. I told my friend that we should have lunch sometime and headed home. I was making good money, but I got to keep the house after the divorce and had yet to get around to moving out to finding a better place. It was a small place, and half of it was spread across cardboard boxes and otherwise just a neglected mess. My home office was the only decent room remaining, and it also featured my tool bench and the arsenal I would use to disassemble the scared and malformed lump that used to be a high-tech recording device. I managed to break it open and separate it of its pieces, and eventually the micro SD card fell out from its slot. It was perfectly readable and full of video files, which I transferred to my computer and organized by date. There were 23 in all, most recorded over the course of 2 days in December 2013. With a cold, quiet winter outside my window, I turned up the heat, brewed some coffee, and went through the files, knowing nothing about the camera's owner or what they experienced when I began. I will summarize the portions that are more mundane or uneventful and fully transcribe the rest. File number 1. Recorded on a chilly morning with the operator obviously testing the camera settings outside their house. No address can be seen, and the surroundings are typical suburbia, making the location difficult to identify. There is snow on the ground. It starts with the operator saying, "Nice," as they zoom out on their new camera's now empty box. They're inside their messy car, and they focus on the house for several seconds before the video ends. File 2. The file created date indicates that this one was recorded just a couple hours later. A young woman, around 30, is watching a pot boil on a stove. She's a small brunette with a bubbly attitude and big blue eyes. I quickly discern that this is the operator's girlfriend. They're both happy and energetic. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Definitely not married, and they've probably only been together a few months. I learned both of their names as the young man teases her a bit with the camera, and she remarks that she hopes he didn't spend too much on the new toy. I'm not going to share their real names, so let's just call them Mike and Jenna. They clearly really like each other, and the clip ends after he tells her this is a lot better than the old one. The mall videos are going to look great. Jenna stirs some stovetop sauce and smiles. Mike records some football in the yard at another house. Even though the clip was made only a week after the previous, there's no snow present. In fact, everyone is running around in t-shirts, making it obvious that this was filmed much further south away from the cold weather. It's a Thanksgiving gathering, and Mike is filming his three younger cousins toss around the old pigskin outside. The old pigskin? What the fuck? trying his hand at some sporty action shots. It keeps going for about 10 minutes, and a friendly banter is shared among the family members. The cousin seems to like Mike, even as he keeps denying their request to join in. At the end, Jenna walks out of the front door and tells everyone that the meal is ready. Oh, a football. No, I've never heard of that. I was like, wait, are they kicking around a pigskin? Like, I know this is a horror story, but I didn't think it was like dystopia. No, that makes way more sense. Alright. Mike and Jenna visit a local mall in the area on Black Friday. It's large with 2 floors and doing well. The place is packed, and Mike gets a few minutes of the mall, Santa, and the line of kids waiting to see them. Jenna looks at the camera and smiles again. Mike comments that he hasn't been to the mall this busy in years. Definitely makes me nostalgic for the pre-pandemic days. File number 5. Mike is seen on video for the first time at the mall 10 minutes later. Jenna gets in some framing practice. Mike tries to humor her with grandiose gestures like he's introducing the place to an adoring large audience. He says some things about the mall, but the crowds drown him out. The camera isn't really known for its audio recording quality. This lasts several minutes as Jenna gets used to the device and how to hold it steady. Towards the end, she recommends getting some of the sort of mount for it, which it was designed to be used with. Mike agrees. File number 6. Things begin to get interesting. It's now December 15th, and Jenna is doing another camera test around sunset. Mike is seen crossing the frame several times as he moves about, and she pans the camera. They're getting footage of the front of Sleepy Pines Mall, which has just recently closed. Snow covers the neglected parking lot. Mike tries the door and looks frustrated that it's locked. I hear the agitated version of his voice, and he remarks that they should have come yesterday. Now it's too late. Jenna assures him that there must still be in some way in that someone had forgotten to lock one of the main doors. I understand now that they're urban explorers of some kind, though they likely just kept things easy and focus on malls, judging by Mike's response about that not being a good idea. I figure that they hadn't broken into a place before. I rechecked the closure date of Sleepy Pines, which was December 14th. They had just missed their chance to legally or easily get inside and film a dead mall. Mike sounds ready to give up, mentioning how well their previous trip went to another mall in the region, and that they are never going to get their subscriber count up at this rate. Jenna isn't so despondent. She wants to make her guy happy, and she mentions that since it took an hour to get here, they should at least try to get in. Mike sighs, nods, and smiles. File number 7. Shot a half hour later. It's now dark. Jenna is holding the camera, getting a selfie of both of them. They're under a buzzing wall light somewhere on the side of the mall, near a cracked open service door. They both look pleased, but it's clear that they're still amateur at the newest hobby they want to do together. Hey guys, it's Mike and Jenna, she says with an awkward grin. So we're here at Sleepy Pines Mall, and we're going to explore together. If you've watched our first 5 videos, you know that we're both interested in this sort of thing. We're just going to go for a quick look tonight, then come back tomorrow during the day. I bet it's really creepy in there right now. All right, let's do it, Mike adds and steps inside. He opens the door and beckons in the viewer. While Jenna snaps the camera into the shoulder mount, the service corridor is poorly lit, and the 2013 hardware doesn't have the sensor chip to shoot in darkness very well. Digital noise fills the frame as they navigate their way into the mall's proper, stumbling over some equipment, boxes, and cleaning materials that had yet to be removed from the area. Commentary is nearly non-existent until they find another door and emerge into the side hallway that brings them to the atrium. Most of the mall's lights are still going, although the mural is bathed in shadow. giving its already creepy faces, staring faces an ominous presence in the nearly empty building. For several minutes, the couple explores walk-arounds, getting footage of the vacated stores. They reach the other end of the mall and head back to where they began, saying very little as they collect footage. The clip ends with a 10-second hold on the mural, during which Mike can be heard laughing after Jenna remarks, "Yeah, that's a little scary." File number 8. The two definitely don't have a script. As they perform a longer walkthrough, they chat idly about how they feel about the place and experiences from past visits to other malls. Just to fill dead air, Jenna is at least a competent cinematographer, even if her boyfriend leaves much to be desired in the information and anecdote side of things. If they weren't planning to add some interesting voiceover narration in post, they would have 2 very dull videos on their hands. It's around the 5-minute mark on the clip, while Jenna shows off the closed dollar theater, that Mike finally mentions some personal history. I learned that he used to live in the area as a kid and has fond memories of visiting Sleepy Pines, back when it had busy weekends and few closed stores. "Some of my earliest memories were coming here with my dad when I was 5, he tells Jenna. So it must have been around 1991. I met Santa right over there. He points to the wide open liminal space under a skylight in the center of the mall. It's sad to see what happens to these places, how the memories fade over time, you know? Is that why you were so mad when you found out you missed its last day? Jenna asks, now keeping him in frame, like they're having an interview. He shrugs. I paid a visit a year ago and it was already deep into the shitter. It would have been symbolic or something. We're both here now, right? He pauses and looks away. You ready to go? We can get more footage tomorrow during the day. We just have to keep that door from... Bruh. Alright. So, where was I? That took me, wow. I don't even know where I am right now. I'm on a different planet. Oh, you ready to go? We can get more footage during the day. We just have to keep that door from locking. Yeah. Place is starting to get to me. Empty malls at night are unnatural. They turn around and head towards the hallway where they came in. On the way, Jenna suddenly stops and swings the camera around. She stares into a lightless corridor so dark that the sensor can't pick up anything. A posted sign indicates that the mall security center is at the end of the hall. She lingers on it for an unusual amount of time. And Mike asks off screen what she's looking at. Don't you hear that? She asks, nervousness in her voice. I turn up the volume as much as I can, but nothing strange passes through my headphones. If she's hearing something, the camera didn't pick it up. She looks into the corridor, as if more petrified by fright than curious. In the end, it takes Mike dragging her away to break her focus, at which point she seems to snap out of it. The clip ends with Mike staring at her and asking, "What's wrong?" If she gives him an answer, she does so when the camera's off. At this point, I get onto YouTube and search for their names, adding mall into the search form on a second try brings me to their page. They really were just getting their start. Their channel only has 6 subscribers, 5 videos with only 12 views each, and no uploads for over 7 years. Ugh, That's all right. Something happened for sure. I skimmed through their videos, all visits to other malls, and find nothing out of the ordinary. Their most recent upload started showing the signs of professionalism with some of that voiceover narration they badly needed. Mike shares some of his history of the empty mall in another state they visited, and he does so with some enthusiasm. He and Jenna smile throughout their trip, and they look like they're having a good time walking through the shopping plaza of memories. They were one of YouTube's earliest dead mall channels, and they had some promise. But seeing their inactivity only all but confirms my worries that something bad happened to them. And a few minutes of Googling later, I found out they had been reported missing in January 2014, at least a full 2 weeks after they started working on their ill-fated video. Naturally, I get the urge to skip to the end to find out what may have happened to them, but I convince myself to keep going through the files in order to take this trip with them as their latest expedition's first viewer. This is good. This is really good so far. I'm enjoying this a lot. On second look at the last few minutes of the file, I noticed 2 pink pixels in random spots of the video. I know it's a sign of sensor damage, and I trace it back to when Jenna focuses on the camera into the dark hallway. After 30 seconds, one dead pixel shows up. A little later, the next arrives. It's as if there's something at the end of that quarter that's emitting a damaging invisible light to the other energetic phenomena, which steadily overloads the camera sensor. But I don't know what could do such a thing other than a powerful laser or radiation. Eagerly, I move on to the next clip. It does, I would agree. The suspense is pretty good. File number 9. The dead pixels are here to stay. They present throughout the video. I see Sleepy Pine's exterior again. This time, early in the morning, Mike stands at the side entrance, his breath filling the cold air. He gives Jenna a thumbs up, and she comes over and points the camera at the both of them. I'm Mike. And I'm Jenna, they both add in unison. And today we're exploring Sleepy Pines Mall. Cute. They proceed inside and arrive at the atrium without cutting the shot, even when there's no reason to keep things all in one take. But Mike must have done some research while at whatever hotel the two stayed at the night prior, as he starts going over basic details of the mall, its opening date and designer, a brief history of the area, and a few controversies about its construction and maintenance record. And the stories that have come and gone all get a mention. Though not in a scripted way, Mike has all this stuff memorized and jumps from one bullet point to the next. Still, I give some props for the guy for remembering so much and getting it all out on the first try. Did we get it that time? He asks as they return to the atrium, where the fountain still hosts some coin and is half full of stagnant water. He smiles after Jenna quietly responds and adds, "Okay, keep that one." So, not actually their first try. I don't know how many attempts it took, since they must have kept deleting prior takes to keep the memory space free. Before Jenna stops recording, Mike wanders around a little, looking into the empty stores. Eventually, he suddenly notices that the red light remains on. You still rolling? Wait, who's saying this? You still rolling? Mike, I think we should check out the security area. He sighs and looks a little annoyed. You still care about that? Come on! We've seen just about everything else. We should get everything on film before they tear this place down, or there will be rooms that are, forgotten forever, never archived. We don't need to be perfectionists. But you went on and on last night about visits here with your family and friends, your memories of the holiday decorations and seeing dollar movies. Really, Jenna? You're saying all this on camera? At least shut it off. The shot lingers a few moments longer before Mike looks fed up and starts approaching the camera. He's going to grab it when the clip ends. I guess every relationship has arguments, but it's a strange thing to have a fight about it. It almost sounds like Jenna felt something was calling to her. File number 10. Mike now stands in the front of a dark hallway, although now the sunlight coming in through the nearby skylight is no longer pitch black. Mike looks like he's under just a bit of duress, but I understand, knowing myself, that sometimes you just have to do what your significant other wants. Alright, so let's take a quick look down this hallway, he says, lacking his typical enthusiasm. It'll be a place you probably only saw if you tried to shoplift something or, filmed without permission, like only criminal scum would do. Mike! Jenna exclaims. He fakes a smile and says, let's check it out. The camera has already acquired a third dead pixel before they even start moving into the hallway. More pop up as they get closer as the sensor becomes more and more permanently damaged. But with the camera on her shoulder and Mike leading the way, Jenna doesn't notice. It quickly becomes too dark for it to pick up anything again, but Mike turns on his phone's flashlight, which at least helps it show anything that within a cone of light. They enter the security office and freeze for several seconds, an old desk and monitoring system in the frame. What is that? Mike asks. Do you hear that? Yeah, some sort of electrical buzzing, Jenna answers. Weird, right? What the hell, Jenna? Why are we even checking this place out? One of us is going to get electrocuted. Can we please get out of... Okay. I thought there would be more to see. She turns around to leave, but then looks back to Mike again after realizing he isn't moving. He's staring into a small room to the side. His light is on, a sign that reads Lost and Found. Now he's the one that seems to be under a spell and just has to know it's beyond the next door. Without saying anything, he opens the door and goes inside. Jenna silently follows. What follows is difficult to describe. The video goes almost completely dark. For some reason, Jenna doesn't pick out the camera to whatever Mike is looking at until the end of the clip. His phone light is only seen at the very edge of frame. They both examine what is evidently a strange object. What is that thing? No idea. Never seen anything like it. Oh God, it's almost like it's moving. Mike, don't. It's warm. How'd this get here? Stop touching that thing. It's dangerous. There's no such thing as a cursed object, Jen. I think we should get this thing into the light and get a better look. Oh, shit! What did you do, Mike? What's going on? I don't know. I didn't. They turn and run out of the room, but the camera still can't pick up anything they might be hearing. The two are frantic in the video. What little there is to see becomes a shaky mess, but now scattered pink pixels partially cover the video, completely obscuring entire small segments of the frame. The two can be heard screaming in the last few seconds of the clip, which ends abruptly. With the darkness, I have no idea what kind of terror the two might have experienced. I would have thought they were already dead if this had been the last file on the card, or at best, someone else found the camera and recorded more video before they had also mysteriously disappeared. Analyzing the clip frame by frame reveals two elements that just barely got burned from the digital film. As they turn to run, Mike's light sweeps over the strange object they came upon. It's some sort of totem, made out of an unknown dark material and maybe about 3 feet high. It sits in the middle of the lost and found room on the floor and is the only thing in the place at all. It's covered in carvings that from angular patterns, though I use the term loosely because there is no real pattern to the lines at all. They swirl and break off from one another in random, unappealing ways. It's like one of those AI-generated images that almost looks like something familiar and identifiable, but is never quite right. But is never quite anything that really exists. Even so, it didn't look entirely alien or forged by some forgotten tribe. It could have been someone's art piece found at a garage sale many decades ago, its history and origins now long obscured. But the strange totem wasn't the sight I found really frightening. I don't think Mike and Jenna saw them before his phone light suddenly cut off, leaving them in darkness. I can't confirm whether or not they're moving or just writhing in place, but on the walls of the security is a spreading sea of long, solid black worms. I don't know how else to even describe the things, but it's obvious in the few frames I got of them that they're no trick of the light or no optical illusion. Worms molding over the wall like they're devouring it. After rewatching the entire clip several times, I close the video and try to wrap my head around what we just saw. I almost dread finding out what happens next, and I delay myself from opening the next file by refilling my coffee. It's around midnight when I move on to a recording that made 3 hours after the last. I open the file with no expectations, and right away defies explanation. While the smattering of dead pixels lingers, it's as if the past trauma of the couple just experienced isn't a thought in their minds. And at first, it's like they've gone to another location and put on some new clothes, or rather old clothes, because it looks like Mike pulled a wardrobe out of the late 80s and changed inside of a brightly lit dressing room, all in the span of a few hours. Mike stands smiling, though he has a nervous twitch. It's apparent Jenna's camera work as well, because her shot is now a constant tremble. The device is also no longer mounted, judging us by the shakiness of the video. Hi guys, Mike says after taking a deep breath. Well, you're never going to believe what happened to us if we get out of this. We will, Jenna replies, though there's no confidence in her voice. Right. It'll be better if we just show you. He gestures to a mirror in the dressing room, and Jenna walks up to it to show herself into its reflection. She now looks sharp in a bold blazer and capri pants, and her hair is fancifully styled up in a way that would take hours to achieve. But it's the camera itself that's even stranger. Holding it with 2 nervous hands, she brings it close to the mirror, and it's no longer a GoPro. It's not even a digital device anymore. It's now somehow a classic Polaroid, one of those old instant cameras. Yeah, weird, right? Mike continues. It doesn't have a screen on the back anymore, but it has buttons, and all of the screen information is inside the viewfinder. I don't know why or how, but our clothes changed too. It's like, I don't even know how to say it. Oh man, we're gonna get millions of views, baby. We're gonna be on talk shows, and scientists will want to. Mike! Can we just get out of here, please? It's too confining. Alright, yeah, let's keep showing them. The two leave the dressing room and step out into a fully lit, packed Dillard's department store, just like the one on Sleepy Pines used to have, but I hadn't seen one so busy in many years. And as Mike and Jenna keep pretty quiet and give a tour of the place, I steadily realize why it seems off. Like their clothes, those on all the shoppers and staff and those waiting to be worn on the racks and shelves, everything is dated. It's all fashion from around 30 years ago. Mike at one point even grabs a polo shirt and with a stupid smile on his face brings its price tag right up to the camera, remarking about how it's so cheap. Did you get that? He asked the viewer. I mean, it should be obvious what happened to us, right? We didn't believe it ourselves at first, but... Oh, sorry, man, he tells an older shopper he had bumped into, who only responds by turning around and giving Mike a curious look. Come on, let's see them all. We haven't left the store yet. Needed some time to get over the shock first. I wish we had gotten some of that on record. Jenna was crying all hysterical. Mike, she then replies, disdainfully. You're taking all of this way too lightly. How can you not be terrified of what's happening to us? He frowns and admits, a part of me is, baby, but we can't explore this place while only being scared and worried. We can at least get it all on record in case something happens to us and the camera is all that's found. Don't say shit like that, Mike. None of this is normal. Hey, come on. I'm right here with you. We'll get out of this. Jenna begins to cry, and the camera points down at the floor. Mike can be heard saying, let's talk, just before the clip ends. I go directly to the next one. How long is this one? Oh, this one is very long. Okay. I I'm gonna take a break, and I think I'm probably gonna maybe make some tea because I'm having a great time and I really want to keep reading, but my throat is dying. So we're probably gonna take a little breaky. Okay. I'm sorry I'm taking so many breaks. I just don't wanna voice. I like this story a lot too. We're gonna go to file number 12 next. Okay, be right back. Wow. Hello. Hi. 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 Alright. Sup, motherfuckers? I'm sorry, I know. I'm really just trying to preserve my voice right now. Which is why I took such a long break. I'm sorry. I've been having a lot of throat issues. Alright. La la. You missed. Haha. Haha. I got some mint tea with some honey, and I got some wheat Ritz crackers. Only the wheat ones, not the white ones. Not the white ones. Only the wheat ones. All right. I don't miss. Oh my goodness. All right. I gotta open the lid here of my tea so it cools down a bit. I want to drink this soon. So, file number 12. It's a few minutes later. The camera is now pointed toward the main thoroughfare of Sleepy Pines, past the Dillard's entrance. The shots last about 30 seconds, during which dozens of shoppers walk by. Many of them wordlessly glance at the camera for a moment. Mike then walks into frame and guides Jenna out into the mall. Through her movements shows she's still reluctant. I pull myself and my chair closer to my monitor and watch intently. I hear something familiar and nostalgic come through my headphones. I turn on the noise canceling so that I can feel even more engrossed by what I'm experiencing. Mike doesn't even know what to say about the enormity of the situation as they approach their exit. I hadn't given myself time to process the previous clip or how the look of the store could have been pulled off through some elaborate set dressing. The obvious but incredible answer to all of this still had yet to feel like a valid thought in my head. Mike isn't the only one startled when a large woman suddenly enters the frame. 1 second, it felt like we had been exploring the uncharted territory together, and the next, there's a big lady in a pantsuit, threatening to spray him with a bottle of amber-colored perfume in a crystal bottle. I told you, we don't want a sample, lady. Mike snaps at her. Jesus. Oh, but this is our new fall scent. There's nothing else like it on the market. Just one whiff, and you two will fall in love all over again. She seems aggressive, and she keeps trying to spray Jenna and Mike as they shove their way past her. For about a second, her unsettling toothy smile fills up the frame as the camera itself nearly smacks into her. What the hell's her problem? Jenna asks once they're in the safety of the mall. They could be like that. Mike sighs and looks up at the skylights. Just maybe not as bad from what I remember. Crazy bitch, you okay? She didn't spray you, right? Michael, what is this place? Jenna asks as she points the camera toward the ceiling, revealing the blue sky beyond the horizon, the horizontal panes. The camera settles back on Mike, and for several seconds, he grins in a way that's almost as unsettling as the perfume lady's smile. I can hear the tiny, echoing music better as Jenna waits for her boyfriend to say something. It's genuine. Traditional muzak. Those lights co-opted renditions of the pop music that went out of style years ago that's barely heard anywhere anymore. Somehow fittingly, as Mike grins like an idiot. Toto's Africa fills the air. Are you really gonna make me say it? Mike asks. There has to be some other explanation. This all can't be real. Babe, we're in the past. We found some sort of time-traveling device. I'm telling you. He turns about and soaks in the mall, adding, "My guess, 1990, maybe 91. All of those 1980 styles in there, all of those 1980 styles are on the way out, and everything is so colorful. I'm talking post-Cold War chic, Jen." Then why did our clothes change? Why did the camera change? Where did our phones go? We need to make sure there's a way out or a way to go back before we start trying to have fun. I don't want to be trapped here. We're not here to have fun. We're here to make history. Maybe even be a part of history. We're filming the past, babe. We'll document everything we see, and then we'll find that weird thing again and figure out how it can send us back to 2013. But we could stay a while, right? I mean, this decade is so much better than the one we came from, with all that social media shit and dumbass challenges. I wish you wouldn't say that. Our friends and family are there, Michael. Our future together. We can't stay. Mike sighs. He doesn't want another argument. He wants to explore what he thinks is the past, some small piece of his own childhood. The shots last another few seconds on this impatient face before the camera pans down. I get a look at Jenna's shoes to see that they've turned into a pair of red high tops. Mike is right. Mike is right is crazy. Mike is right is crazy. That's crazy. I don't know how I feel about Mike is right. I think we could find a happy medium between Mike and Jenna. You know? Alright. We've got file number 13 here. Maybe I can drink my tea now. Okay. Jenna's ultimately the reason they are there, so no, because Mike was the one that, like, Jenna was like, let's go away now, and then Mike was the one that opened the lost and found, so I think it's Mike's fault, because Jenna was like, time to leave, and Mike was like, lost and found, bitches. Oh, that tea feels so good. Wait, oh my god. Wow. Oh, that's some nice tea feeling in my throat right there. Wow, when it's so good, you just gotta close your eyes and like relish the moment. Oh, that's it right there. Yep. Sorry, give me a second. She wanted to keep exploring though. That's true. That's true. That's true. I don't know. I think they're both at fault. I think they're both at fault. I don't know. I'm reluctant to go into the past. I've lived through the past because I'm 5,003 years old, you know, lots of questionable shit. Yeah, I would agree. They're both at fault. An Ashling out of context compilation? Wow. Wow. Getting bullied. Alright. Ah, man. Okay. This clip goes on for over 10 minutes, and it's a proper mall tour. Jenna quietly films every store as they pass without argument. While Mike tries to provide some sort of commentary, but he's often distracted, overwhelmed by amazement every time he looks into a shop or sees a person walk by in nostalgic clothing, or finds a treasured piece of media from the era. He forces Jenna to spend several minutes just in Sam Goody so she can get every audio cassette, every CD or videotape in the least few frames of video. All the while Mike is overly excited and Jenna seems very wary of the crowds. The shoppers almost approach an uncanny valley. They look like regular people, but they act like emotional automatons, staring vapidly at the two like they are intruders in their home. She notices them, as do I, but Mike hardly seems to consider whether or not something is off with everyone other than himself and his girlfriend. He's under the effects of a siren call brought about by his love for a romanticized past. Oh, so good. I'd say she's most at fault since she's the reason. Damn. It's fine, they both die anyway. I'm guessing, I don't know. What if they're still trapped here? They pass by a brightly lit hair salon with colorful geometric shapes on the walls and a checkerboard floor. 3 women seated inside are all getting the exact same hairstyle. The small movie theater's marquee lists as now playing Total Recall, Gremlins 2, Terminator 2, City Slickers, The Rocketeer, and ironically, Back to the Future Part 3. We see more mall store staples, many of which no longer exist anywhere. A KB Toys, I don't know what that is. A Walden Books, I don't know what that is. A merry-go-round, I know what that is. Filled with clothes for teenagers. I recognize most of the places, and sure, I miss seeing them if I think about it, but they all had their time. And I don't worship the past like Mike seems to. While it's certainly interesting to see all these old stores in modern high definition, dead pixels aside, I find myself just hoping the two make it out. Yeah, I feel like it might be like a pocket dimension kind of thing. Sleepy Pines looks very different overall. It has big blue and red and yellow painting lines running along the wall. Neon lights cast their glow on indoor trees and lounge areas full of boxy chairs and couches. Coin-operated rides sit out front of the arcade for the kids too young to venture in and play the cabinets that bring bright and noisy pixelated games inhabit. I can empathize with Mike. Being a kid during this snapshot in time, wanting to go back and feel something genuine again if he believes the present is shallow and hopeless, but that idealism isn't going to find either of these young adults a way out. All the while, the calm cheerfulness of the mall music undercuts the rising dread I begin to feel about the situation I'm helpless to change. Wow, Mike says wistfully as they reach the Sears on the other end of the mall. It's great, Jen. What an experience. You got all that right? Yes, now can we go back to the lost and found? We need to get that thing to send us back home. I wonder if younger me will show up if we wait around. Baby, I don't think you appreciate all of this enough. How often do you get to take your girlfriend to the freaking past and show them someplace that meant so much to you? After waiting for a response from her that doesn't come... After waiting for a response from her that doesn't come, he sighs, nods, and says, "All right, fine. Let's get a good shot of the mural on the way back." They head to the mall atrium, where Jenna lets the mural fill the frame. It's incomplete and even creepier than usual. 2/3 of the forest segment is done, but the 5 figures standing in the front of it have yet to be painted and are just a solid ghostly white. I don't know that the whole thing was finished all at once. I didn't know that the whole thing wasn't finished all at once. It suggests that there might have been something to my idea that the poorly drawn pioneers and natives were added by a second artist, maybe even just as an excuse to cover something up on the original background. That's weird as hell, Mike says as he looks at the artwork. We must have been brought back to one of the few days when the mural was still being made. Jenna grumbles and starts to pressure him to focus on getting themselves home, but is interrupted when mall security comes over and reminds the pair that they can't just shoot pictures in the mall without permission, unaware that their mutated camera is actually filming video. Sure, no problem, Mike is heard saying after the camera goes to Jenna's side and is pointed at the floor. Hey, can we check out your lost and found? We think we left something behind when we last... The clip ends as abruptly as I've come to expect. Oh, fuck. The next file was created 4 hours later. This is file number 14. I'm seriously... Okay, wait, hold on. Having some tea. Okay. The next file was created 4 Hours later, I'm seriously concerned about what might have happened in the time before I open it. Mike and Jenna are staring at the camera together. They're back in one of Dillard's changing rooms, where they might feel safe. The light flickers above them, and now they both look noticeably stressed. Hey guys! Mike trying to find the words and wraps an arm around Jenna's shoulder. Here's the part where we have to tell you that things aren't looking good for us. I still don't know how or why we're in the past, and we can't find the thing that brought us here. We've looked all over, every store, every back room, every staff room we could think of, and it feels weird trying to sneak around, you know. The people here are always looking at us, and I don't think any of them have left either. They're all the same shoppers that were here when we arrived. Something is wrong with this place. I should have seen it earlier, but I was busy being too stupid about everything. At least he admits it. The doors are all locked, Jenna adds tearfully as she seems to come to terms with their situation. We tried all of them, and they won't budge. We picked up one of the payphones, but there's not even a dial tone. We're just gonna tear this place apart if we have to. We'll find that thing, whatever it is, but in case we don't make it out and you find these videos, please call my parents. Their number is... Mike! Shh! Jenna suddenly shushes him. She points towards the edge of the frame, and Mike turns the camera around to show the gap at the bottom of the changing room. After several seconds, a pair of large feet stuffed in a high heels steps into the space. They turn towards the door, and it rattles violently. Jenna can be heard suppressing a scream. The door keeps shaking for about a full minute before the assault on it finally ends. Without saying a thing, the large woman on the other side walks off. As upset as Jenna is, she picks up the camera again, nearly dropping it as she films Mike cracking the door and looking around. He gestures for her to come out, and they make an exit from the store by sneaking behind clothes racks and keeping quiet. The other shoppers look at them again, but don't bother them. Just before they can leave, Mike gets a shot of the perfume lady standing in the store entrance. I recognize the shoes and realize that she must be stalking the pair at this point. Oh boy. Without warning, she turns towards them, and they duck behind a display table full of polo shirts. I pause on a frame of her face and see how hideous she has become. Her bulbous face is covered in bright red lipstick, her blue eyeshadow and bright pink blush, but it all does nothing to help with the fact that she has greasy, disheveled hair and yellow, crooked teeth. After a few seconds, the camera pops back up. The perfume lady is gone. Where is she? Jenna whispers. I don't know. We just have to get out of the store. We never should have come back in here. We knew the door would be locked, just like the others. Mike, we have to. Jenna is cut off by the sound of ruffling fabric. She and Mike both flip around to see the perfume lady staring straight at them from the top of the clothes rack. She's slumped over some of those chrome bars, her blob-like arms dangling down like she's an obese sloth with a murderous glint in her eye. She curls her lips into a demented grin and holds up the perfume bottle seemingly glued to one of her hands. Mike and Jenna quickly work up the nerve to get up to their feet and make a run for the store entrance. Judging by the sounds coming from behind them, their pursuer knocks over an entire rack and crashes into more displays as she gives chase. There are expletives, terror, and panic in Jenna's voice as she and Mike dash out towards the mall. She briefly turns the camera back on to capture the crazed lady on film. She becomes animalistic, running on all fours with eyes as black as a shark's. Jenna lets out a shriek as the feral beast gains on them. But the perfume lady stops right at the boundary of the store, as if there's an invisible barrier she can't pass. After catching his breath, Mike flips her off. The woman simply regains her composure, getting back on two legs and returning to the cosmetic department, that grin never leaving her face. What? What the hell, Mike? She's not human. No person acts like that, Jenna shouts at him. We need to get out of this place right goddamn now. I know, Jen. I know. At least she still can't leave the store. Shit. Mike tries to calm himself down as the shoppers stare at him, most of them now just standing around as if they're NPCs who have run out of the walk cycles. He points the camera up at the skylight, revealing that it's dusk. The neon lights of the mall now determine the colors, splashing everything in hues of reds, purples, pinks, and blues. I can also hear the muzak has slowed and become distorted, like a talking electronic toy with low batteries. The audio seems to unnerve Mike, who closes his eyes to think but can't get comfortable enough to do so. It's like this place is starting to fall apart. Oh, it's like this place is starting to fall apart. He mutters out the same thought that had just crossed my mind. Jen, we need to find something heavy. Hammers, crowbars, maybe just a trash can. Something to smash our way out. He proceeds to shove his way past the crowd of zombie-like onlookers, yelling at them to get out of his way, all while Jenna follows at a distance, getting a face full of their staring eyes on the way. They briefly stop near a night display of a red 1990s Corvette, where a nearby small film crew seems to be trying to make a commercial. Hot lamps hit the sweating face of an older man in a gray suit. He repeats the line, "A lot is happening at Sleepy Pines Mall. Why not come? See what's new today?" several times as Jenna also films the scene. Mike then loses his patience and enters the shot, but the attempt at making a commercial continues. "You've been here for hours," Mike tells the crew angrily. "Who are you people? How did you get in here? What ad agency do you work for?" "Michael, stop!" Jenna pleads quietly. "Don't antagonize them." "They're not even real. They're mindless, running on some kind of script." With no concern for consequences, Mike knocks over the lights and the expensive film cameras and then steals the tripod. Jenna doesn't know what to make of it, and she just stands in place in shock as Mike walks with the bulky piece of equipment. And actually, Mike seems to have a point, because the actor simply keeps repeating the same segment of the commercial several more times with the crew watching and going through the motions. The camera pans down, and the clip ends. Oh, man! This is crazy. Guys, this is so crazy. Wow. Alright. Let's see. File number 15. It starts with Mike midway through another swing of the tripod against a glass door. He's been at it for a while based on his apparent exhaustion. He lands the heavy metallic tripod plate against the glass several times, but he has yet to crack it. The glass doesn't even seem to have any give to it. Might as well be hitting a brick wall. The vintage cars and trucks in the parking lot outside seem real, but I'm not sure. There are no people outside in the darkness, yet a couple are trapped in the mall with hundreds of them, so everything is beyond its walls may not even have a reason to exist. Whatever time trickery is going on, it likely can't extend past the building in which it was triggered. Jenna can be heard quietly sobbing. She pans to a trash can on the floor, knocked over, and she gives it a kick, giving me the impression that she had used it to join in the effort before she gave up and started filming again. I also noticed that the muzak is now completely gone, replaced by a monotone buzzing sound. Mike hits the door 12 times in all, working up a sweat and eventually hopelessly collapsing on the floor. The recording of this effort then ends. File number 16. The camera sits on a table in the food court. It's getting late, but it looks like all of the places are still open. The pair have cups of soda and slices of pizza on paper plates in front of them, but they both look hesitant to eat. It isn't that they're only losing hope of escape. They're also afraid of the food. I can't blame them. They're also mostly in shadow, now lit by the neon lights. "Are we really going to eat this?" Mike asked listlessly. I mean, who knows what it's made of? Jenna murmurs back. "We have to eat something. We're starving." Mike looks to the camera and says tiredly, "Yeah, so the clocks here say it's 2 in the morning, and things have just kept going. It's a 24/7 mall now, I guess. We couldn't last much longer without eating or drinking something. If this is what ends us, at least you'll know it wasn't the perfume lady." In one of the few acts of bravery I've seen Mike exhibit across this video, he takes a sip from the cup before Jenna, slowly at first, before gulping it down thirstlessly. She then does the same but with her drink, and they soon look a little more confident about trying the solid next. Well, it tastes like Dr. Pepper, Mike says, and examines his pizza. And it looks authentic enough. Even though I don't think much of anything is real in this place. Okay, before it gets cold. He takes a bite, chews, and eventually swallows, deciding it tastes edible enough and is worth the risk. He quickly gobbles up the rest, while Jenna remains more reluctant to takes her time with the food. It's too dark in here, she says, looking around. All of the ceiling lights shut off hours ago, but the people didn't even seem to notice. We'll try to get some sleep in the arcade, Mike tells her. All of the games are still running. I think that's the most light we'll get. What's going to happen to this place? Maybe eventually the dream ends and we wake up? Even the guy at the Sparrow didn't speak or ask us for any money. Yeah. No wonder the chain is dying off. They sit and drink and eat quietly before another minute, and the video ends. File number 17. This one takes place entirely inside the mall's old arcade, which closed in 1998. The only source of light in the area are the flickering cabinet screens of games on their demonstration modes, but there are so many in place that remains the brightest locale of the mall at this point. Mike holds the camera this time, but I don't know if what he's trying to achieve other than the miserable conditions the two have found themselves in. He makes a few rounds around the arcade cabinets, muttering incoherently to himself. Kids and teenagers fill the large room with a carpet featuring planets and stars, but none of them move. Some have their hands on joysticks or buttons. Others just stand and stare with arms at their sides. Mike tries to elicit a response from one of the kids, getting the lens right up into their face. Their eyes are glazed over, looking straight ahead as the light of the fighting game reflects off their large pupils. They're just as catatonic as everyone else. Mike throws a swear at him, but before going over to the prize counter and getting a shot of all the toys he'll never be able to claim. I went to a good university, he tells his audience of one, and turns the camera on himself so he can speak angrily directly to it. I had a good job lined up, and I liked the 1980s and 90s. So what? Doesn't mean I want to be stuck in some shitty bizarro version of nostalgia. I never want to visit a mall again. And the camera battery... It should have died a long time ago, but the icon says it's still full. Nothing is right. It's all wrong. We're never getting out of here. Still filming, he goes over to one of those large cabinets, and you can sit down inside of one just for some privacy and immersion. It's an old racing game with a steering wheel, and Jenna is curled up on the seat, facing the wall, trying to sleep. Trying to. As this was created 5 hours after the previous, I get the feeling that Mike couldn't sleep, or gave up trying. He decides to let Jenna be and slumps down into the cabinet. Several cabinet screens are in the frame. The kids in front of them, now lifeless silhouettes. Mike can be heard getting emotional for a few minutes over the noises of the games. Suddenly, he hears a loud metal clang outside, echoing down the mall's corridor. He jolts up and points the camera in the darkness outside, and only the neon lights can penetrate. His breathing is shallow and rapid. Nothing shows up, or at least nothing that he can see, but he still ends up running into a small utility closet without alerting his girlfriend to a possible danger, and closes the door. Following another few seconds of a pure black image filled with digital noise and dead pixels, the video ends. I assume he eventually fell asleep in the cramped space and that the experience was beginning to wear on his sanity by this point. File number 18. The camera is aimed up at one of the skylights where the early morning light is coming through. It's possibly about 8 a.m. or so, meaning Mike and Jenna are nearing 24 hours in the mall. Mike pans down to show the mural and the fountain in front of it, where Jenna scoops up a handful of water and washes her face. Around her are mindless shoppers, all of them still idle despite the fact that the place seems to have never opened or closed. This is weird. This version of Sleepy Pines, whether it really existed in the past or not, just is. I've come to realize that it represents the memory of a mall when people are there to remember it. Times where it is empty and dormant don't factor into this corrupt amalgam of its golden days of service. The speakers are still pushing out of some sort of noise, but now all I can hear are atonal crackles. Mike approaches Jenna, leaning forward and staring at her reflection in the fountain. She looks at him as he draws near, now looking incapable of ever smiling again. I still worry about Mike's mental state, but she doesn't seem to be afraid of him. She's just tired or starting to resign herself to their imprisonment. Oh my god. Jeez. Jen, are you hungry? Mike asks flatly. The Cinnabon stand still seems to be running. I could get you something. She shakes her head and replies, Mike, we need to find a way out today. Whatever it takes, we can't give up. We just can't. I know. We'll try something else. I was just thinking maybe the air vents. Jenna looks like she's about to say something, but instead goes back into looking at the fountain. After several seconds, she takes on an inquisitive expression and leans forward. She stays in frame, but I get the impression that Mike's actually looking elsewhere while the camera remains pointing at her. Jenna takes out one of the coins from the fountain and studies it. I can barely hear her murmur, Michael, look at this! Mike doesn't hear her and shouts, Jen, run! The camera swings around and I see the perfume lady aggressively approaching at a fast and unstoppable walking pace. The Dillards far behind her. It's the first time we've seen her leave the invisible boundary of the department store, and Mike and Jenna seem shocked about this as well. The large woman still has perfume bottle in one hand, but there's no telling what she really wants. No way to really find out. The couple start running. File number 19. An hour after the previous video ended, Jenna gets the camera going again to show Mike crouching down between some washing machines and peeking around the corner of one of the big white cubes. They're somewhere in the Sears store. I think we finally lost her. Mike sighs and slumps against the machine. Crazy bitch, why is she the only one still moving around? He shakes his head and looks up to see the camera is recording. Mike, Jenna says quietly. There may be a way out, or something. He grumbles back. What are you talking about? Don't get your hopes up, but I found, here, just look. She hands him a quarter, and he checks both sides of it. He looks at Jenna like she's crazy at first, but then realizes why she sees it as important. It's got state-of-the-art. Oh, it's got state art on the tail side that didn't start until around 2000. Yeah, it's from 2005. I don't think the coins in the fountain were affected by any of this. Something to do with the water, maybe? That doesn't make any sense. None of this does, but maybe there's something we can do with the water. Whatever took us to this bizarre version of the past, maybe water is the answer, a way out. Mike frowns. So what? Should we just jump into the fountain, hold our breaths, and hope for the best, or do you want to open up all the faucets in the mall and flood it? How does this big revelation help us? We have to keep trying, Michael, and we need to talk. We need to understand what happened to us and what this place really is and why we're here. I don't think we're really in the past. Didn't you notice how early it got dark yesterday? There aren't any holiday decorations here, and all the fake people are dressed like it's summer. But the day didn't last any longer than it did before. I mean, yeah, I guess. I think that device somehow recreated local history by altering all the nearby material, but but it isn't perfect and it can't sustain it for long. It's not stable. It's all breaking down and we're running out of time. That's insane. Have you any better theories? Do you actually think we went to the past? Mike takes on a rather vapid expression as he thinks for a few moments before replying. Then what's the deal with the perfume lady? I don't know. Maybe she's guarding the place. Maybe she's the thing keeping us here. She's hunting us. She's a threat. So I say, let's try and kill her. How? He asks, rather stupidly in my opinion. We could start by trying. Why don't we bash her over the head and see what happens? She's not real, Mike. None of these people are real. All right, yeah, fine. We'll smash her head in and see what comes out. He tries to act tough for his girlfriend, but he can't back it up. After he agrees to commit some form of homicide, the two hear a noise and he panics just as much as she does when they see the silhouette of the perfume lady against the light of the Sears exit to the parking lot. I'm not sure whether she was standing there looking menacing or started chasing them. The clip ends just as the couple start running. Plot. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Alright. This is file numero 20. File number 20. File number 20. How many more okay, I think we're getting close to the end here. I think we're like a good bit through. This story was way longer than I thought. But you know what? We're gonna finish it now. Alright. He gets up and goes oh, wait. Oh, okay, here's this is wild. It is pretty wild. This is fun. I like this one. It's not I don't think it's too scary, but it's fun. With only there's only 4 files left. With only 4 files left to view, I know that Mike and Jenna's journey is coming to an end. This one opens with Mike holding the camera at himself, and behind him are boxes of shoes. He's at a Payless or a Foot Locker. He has his free arm wrapped around the camera tripod from earlier, which rests against his shoulder. He must consider it the best weapon he could find. We think it's been over 24 hours since all this started, he tells me. We're prepared to take on that perfume bitch now, mentally and physically, but we don't know where she is at the moment. But you gotta see this. He gets up and goes to the store entrance, where Jenna is standing guard and looking into the hall. She's holding a metal bar in one hand, and I think taken from a clothes rack, a fire extinguisher in the other. Look at them. Look at them, she murmurs. They're getting worse. Mike gets a little closer to one of the nearby kids, but still keeps a safe distance. Thick black ooze moving as slowly as hot tar, dripping out of the boy's mouth. Smaller streams of the stuff come out from his lifeless eyes. Mike pulls back and pans the camera to reveal that the surrounding adults are suffering from the same affliction. Still, they all do nothing but stand quietly. Jenna walks into the frame and says, "This is what I'm talking about, Mike. This place is falling apart. First it'll be more complex things like people, then the rest will follow the whole building. But not us, right?" Jenna doesn't have an answer, but there's doubt in her eyes. They move away from the store. Jenna is ready to strike with her crowbar. Everyone they pass is disintegrating from the inside out, but none of them act aggressively or move in the slightest. Mike points the camera up at the skylights, where a miasma of black specks is rising and beginning to smother sunlight. As he pans back down, he catches on film one of the shoppers losing their arm. It simply breaks off and falls onto the floor, where it slowly melts into a pool of thick black liquid. At this point, they're out of expletives and just accept it. Even the movie theater's marquee has been corrupted, or is glitching like a crashing computer program. Only 2 legible titles are Casablanca and Gone Girl, neither of which came out anywhere near the supposed emulated time period in which the two are trapped. The other spots on the marquee are jumbles of letters and numbers. A pile of them is building up on the floor by the box office. Mike turns and focuses on the fountain they're closing in on. The mural behind it has lost all elements and is now solid black. Jenna runs over to the water and looks down into it. She dips a hand in and then steps in fully, submerging herself just below her knees. You really expect something to happen? Mike says as he catches up. You're just getting soaked. Might be hard running in wet, squishy shoes, Jen. Maybe we won't have to run anymore if this is our way out. She looks down at her feet and mother's. Come on, do something. What are you hoping will happen? I don't know. Maybe for my shoes to change back? Mike gazes at the fountain, bringing the camera close to its surface. He notices the coins and takes one out and looks at the year it was made. You were right, he admits. You've been putting more thought into all of this than I have. I guess anything's worth a shot at this point. He points the camera up for a full straight minute, leaving a bit of his hair in the frame as the clouds of dark particles thicken above. After he has some time to think his deep thoughts, he swings it back and gets a shot of Jen's shoes again. They're still red high tops, and she expresses her disappointment with apparent anguish. I don't know how long she stayed in that fountain, since the video ends a moment later with Mike trying to be considerate and offering assuring words. Oh man, oh man. Over 2 hours later, this is file number 21. Over 2 hours later, Mike gives me a shot of the skylight again, only now the dark particles are burning away into a thick mist that almost fully obscures the sunlight. It moves like boiling water, foaming a wriggling cloud all across the top half of Sleepy Pines. The writhing mass reminds me of the worms crawling out of the wall from earlier. But it gets worse. The camera sweeps down to the walls of the atrium, where large towels are breaking loose as more black ooze pours and spreads across the floor. Jenna walks toward the camera, trying hard not to step in the gunk. She stares at Mike for several seconds, then keeps walking past him. Place has gone to hell, he mutters into the microphone. He then asks Jenna, Are we doing another walk? Nothing's changing with the doors. The people at the stores are almost gone, but the doors are still solid, Jen. If everything is burning off or melting, then a way out has to emerge. Yeah, maybe. But we've been going back and forth a few hours. I'm going to the food court to see if there's anything left. Not sure that's a good idea. He follows her anyway, and they cross through a hallway that looks more like a moving, dripping cave system of black magma than anything human hands made. I think it's all being reclaimed by the device that projected a version of the mom that emulates his past, but one thing that never really existed. They make it to the food court, now nearly pitch black as its primary light source. Sunlight has been all but completely blotted out. The food is darker still. The sub sandwiches, Chinese noodles and rice, the Sparrow's pasta and pizza have lost their color and form as they also turn to slag. There's nothing left. God damn it. I'm so hungry. I just hope that, what we ate before passed through us enough that we don't have any of this nasty stuff inside us. The two look down on one of the shoppers' heads on the floor, separated by its body and still staring ahead mindlessly into a pool of its own gunk. They don't remark on it. It really must have been a common sight by now. Mike, Jenna says while the camera is still pointed at the floor. What is it? That kid. You've got to be shitting me. Mike walks off. Oh, what about him? Mike walks off, bringing the camera back up to where he's a few feet away from a young boy, 5 or 6 years old. His gooey inside still intact for now, and he looks blankly into space like all the others. I put the pieces together on why Mike suddenly sounds so upset before he confirms it. Jen, that's me. Why am I here? Why? She comes over to get a look at young Michael and then tries to comfort the adult one as he keeps the camera on the kid's eyes. It doesn't mean anything. How can you say that? Whatever created this place, it pulled from a pool of faces. Maybe full of everyone who ever came here. But that could be over 1 million people. Why did I just now find the young me? Where was it? How does... Whatever this is, know who I am. This is all so screwed up. It's messing with us. You know we're never going to get an answer. Let's just look back for looking for a door, or maybe focus on staying safe until a path opens for us. Mike takes a deep breath and turns the camera back around to show the two of them again, both clearly exhausted. He works up the confidence to say, the next time we turn this thing on, we'll be filming our escape. Or already back in our hotel room. I'm sick of this place. I think we'll be taking our channel in a different direction after this. File number 22. Fuck. Unfortunately, Mike lied. Created another 2 hours later, this one starts with another shot of the skylights and a part of the wall right beneath them. But now, finally, it seems things are reverting. The thick fog of particles has disappeared, and there's a few feet worth of the more recent aged atrium wall between the ceiling windows and the black goop, which is no longer actively moving. Instead, the material is now like a dried, flaking crust. A few trunks break off the mass and turn to dust on the way down. It's as if the 2013 version of the mall is emerging from a cocoon. Oh my god. Okay. Hey! Oh, hey, it's us. Hopefully for the last time, Mike says and gets both of them back in frame. Their eyes are half closed and they look ready to sleep for a week. Well, we still couldn't find a way out, but it's starting to look like we'll just have to keep waiting a little longer. Sleepy Pines has returned to normal. Very slowly, Jenna adds. Yeah, look at this. In a sweeping 360-degree shot, he shows off the atrium and the 3 main hallways. It's all coated black, including the floor, turning the place into a demented Dali painting. It absorbs all of the color and most of the light, but there's enough sheen to the crusty darkness that it makes its melted wax shapes and texture. The two stand avoid sitting on their stuff, since all the chairs and couches are also gunkified. Even the fountain has been affected, and now it's just a solid black basin that still holds its water. All the people are gone, melted into the floor. The fragrance fiend has been MIA for a while now, so I think we scared her off or something. It's all coming to an end. Oh, fuck. I begin to feel some relief after having an elevated heartbeat for nearly an hour from the safety of my own office chair. I started hoping again that they made it out, but just dropped the camera on the way. I look at the little thing on my desk, my mind still trying to process the idea that it had been twisted into a very different size, shape, and model before being twisted right back again. Mike goes on to say, we still don't know what happened to our phones, so hopefully we'll be able to flag down a car and get some food, get back to our hotel room, closes the curtain, sleep. Sound good, Jen? Jen? Fuck. Okay, I'm so nervous. He looks over to see her staring down at her sneakers, which quickly gets into frame. They've changed back into a modern pair of sneakers? Mike, it worked! Jenna murmurs. Yeah, I guess. It just took a long time. Did you feel anything? My feet tingled for a second, and then I looked down, and... Fuck. She stops suddenly as a loud thundering crack echoes throughout the atrium. The hell was that? Mike exclaims and swings the camera all the way around to show a large segment of the melted black wall near the KB toy store breaking apart. Jen, I think it's speeding up. We might be able to get out in just a few minutes. Oh, thank God, she breathes out. The wall cracks again, and then a torrent of ooze, which never dried, comes pouring out. Mike takes a step back, and the three of us watch in dread as an inky arm emerges from the opening. its claw-covered hand grasping the side to tear open the rest of the chrysalis. Like a grotesque insect emerging from inside, 4 more arms spring out and quickly rip apart the shell. Oh my god, what the fuck? A deformed, hulking mass over 7 feet tall lurches forward, its 4 legs and 9 arms wriggling about as if they're trying to free themselves from the true owner of its body. The disgusting and horrifying chimera has 5 mouths, at least that I can see, but only has a single eyeball manages to protrude from the dripping fleshy shadow. Multiple voices, all of them dissonant and guttural, manage to gurgle out, "Try our new full set." Jesus Christ, Mike yells and grabs out for the tripod, resting against one of the lounge chairs. Before he can grasp it, the monstrous creature emits a loud buzzing sound. The camera picks it up this time. For Mike and Jenna, it's so painful and deafening that they have to cover their ears. In doing so, Mike ends up filming the chimera, flinging the camera away. It lands at an angle in the melted floor where the dried ooze covers a part of its lens. The moment the shrieking begins, it is also when more dead pixels start to appear, much faster than when it happened previously. Every 2 or 3 seconds that pass, another one pops up. Fuck. I'm still able to see enough of the scene that follows to discern what happens next. Though in pain, the couple manage to get their weapons, and as the creature stumbles in a frame, Mike hits its body with multiple arms with the tripod several times with as much force as he can muster. Jenna jams the metal bar into its body, but it gets lodged into the mass and starts sinking into it. When she realizes she can't pull it out, she begins spraying the creature with foam from the fire extinguisher. It seems to slow down, but that isn't enough for either of them. They know they need to destroy it, or at least try to. Its body covered in foam and maybe blinded by it, Jenna shoves the entire red canister into one of its mouths. Mike bashes the extinguisher deeper into the tripod, and the handle audibly gets squeezed within its maw. More foam is dispensing directly down its gullet, paralyzing the abomination. Jenna grabs Mike's hand and gestures toward the fountain, I guess seeing it as their best option, though I lack the information to know exactly what they expect it to do for them. Even so, they run off into the background and visibly jump into the water. They don't emerge before the video ends. In the last 10 seconds, after the foam stops pouring out of the creature's mouth, it collapses on the ground where it starts crawling towards the fountain, screeching and sprouting more arms as it does. With over half of the video's pixels dead or either showing nothing but the blackness of the lens sinking into it, the clip finally ends on its own, likely because the camera is too badly damaged to continue recording. Fuck. Oh my god. File number 23. I want a conclusion, but I should have expected that I wouldn't get one. My PC never generated a thumbnail for this file, so I knew in advance that there would be something wrong with it. The warning about it being damaged doesn't deter me from trying to alter ways to see inside it. The file size is over 25 megabytes, so there has to be something within its bits. Eventually, after trying several restoration and video editing programs, I managed to extract some information. It's 9 seconds long, though that means little when everything about the file is corrupted to begin with. The audio is nothing but a loud buzz similar to what the creature let out, and nearly every frame of the video is just a mess of jumbled greens and blacks of more unreadable data. Even so, I want to say I did everything possible, so I go through the video frame by frame, all 60 of them for each second. Only 2 frames, one of 5 seconds and the other just near the end, survived and are decipherable despite still having a flood of pink and dead pixels. The first is a single frame, still of sleepy pines during the day, looking normal with a few shoppers walking around. Many of the stores are closed or empty, but the arcade is still open, placing this image somewhere before 1998, but after the events across the rest of the files. The other one takes me back to where it all began, showing the totem in the lost and found room blurred by the camera motion. It's a duplicate frame from file 10. The remaining several hundred frames remain corrupt, and the date created for the number 23rd defaults to the and the date created for number 23 defaults to the Unix time of January 1st, 1970. I don't think that last file was created by pressing the record button. My guess is that it was generated via hardware error, possibly while the camera was reverting back to its natural form. But that doesn't explain where it could have pulled that picture out of the mall in decline, taken years later. I stay up for another hour into the night, researching anything I can think of about the mall or Mike and Jenna. I find the commercial we saw being shot by the Corvette on YouTube. I almost believe I might see the couple walking by in the background, but I go through the retro 30-second spot for the mall several times, and none of the featured smiling shoppers look anything like them. Even so, seeing all the era-appropriate clothing and appearance of the mall makes me appreciate just how accurately the strange unknown and missing device managed to recreate the place from the past. And then, at 4 in the morning, I'm starting to crash. Something cast doubt on the genuineness of everything I just saw. Although Mike never posted about it on what little social media presence he had, I find out through other students' Facebook posts from Mike's university days that he attended several special effects classes in his junior and senior years. I go to bed thinking about what this might mean and how it really could have all just been an elaborate underground art project. Maybe Mike had melted several cameras and then placed them about abandoned malls to attract attention to himself or become the star of some urban legend he and Jenna could very well be missing on their own accord, just to make it all appear authentic. Even with those doubts, I go through the files several more times across the following days, looking for any giveaways that everything was faked, albeit very well. But I'm not very good at spotting the tricks he could have used or seeing the imperfections in any elements you need to a computer to render. I have a hunch with the buddy who gave me the camera a week later and tell him all about it. We end up having a laugh, and then he gets me out of the rut that resulted from my viewing experience by telling me that it was almost certain it was all faked because it just sounds too Hollywood horror to be true. In a few years, Mike and maybe Jenna as well would surely emerge as modern artistic visionaries, and everyone that had found a copy of their videos would have something worth a small fortune on their hands. But despite saying that all, as we heard as we head out of the restaurant, he does mention two final details. The camera, it turns out, was found somehow embedded inside one of the mall floor tiles. And one more thing. Early in the demolition, his crew found a metal bucket in one of the food court kitchens with several unexplainable bite marks around its edges, like someone with a strong pair of chompers snacked on it. He gets quiet for a moment after revealing these findings, but then just grins and adds, maybe those two kids were just that good. Or maybe those two kids were just that good. Maybe. But I can't bury the part of me that believes everything I saw and knows deep down that what happened to Mike and Jenna is in fact a mystery. Oh man. While I'm still in the area, I drive to what remains of Sleepy Pines one last time. And on the visit, I get a really good look at the mural coming up close to it. While my mind fixates on what might have transpired on the now barren grounds, I try to remember what it was like when I was younger, back when I first visited the mall and had studied the intricate swirls, finding secret critters among the dark forests. At first, I think they're still here, just waiting to be broken apart and tossed into a landfill, but on closer inspection, I find the elegant brushstrokes of the nighttime woods suddenly end and are not present in the last third of the mural on the left side, where it was still blank in the incomplete in Mike and Jenna's videos. The paint is still there, as are the trees and the dark colors of that ominous forest, but that subtle texture only the touch of human hands can create has been replaced by something mechanical. What was changed and then changed back is now unfeeling reproduction, and that could never get right the true authenticity of real historical art made by someone who cared. Wow! And that's the end! Wow! 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 Did you guys like it? What do we think? Wow. I enjoyed that. That was pretty cool. That was a fun little read. I'm surprised they never found their bodies. Like, I'm definitely really curious to like what happened to them, if they died or they went further back or like what. I don't know. I'm curious, but I guess that's part of the like it's up to your interpretation. I guess that's like part of the thing. That was a roller coaster. That was fun though. It was spoopy. Yeah, it was very fun. It was fun spoopy. It wasn't like scary spoopy. The perfume lady was crazy. Perfume lady go crazy, man. She's like nom 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 nom. It's like damn, chill. Your perfume smells like Dookie. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming and listening, and I hope you have a good All Hallows Eve and man, I hope you guys have a great Halloween too. I hope you guys do something fun for Halloween, celebrate a little bit. Um it was their son. That'd be crazy, but he's too old cuz I think he was also born in the 90s and they were like yeah, I think he would be too old. Um But yeah, please do something fun for me. Please, please. Hopefully, I'll see you guys Friday. We might have D&D. I don't know anymore. I don't know. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna just try and stream on my own. And then we'll see about D&D. No. We'll see. Anyway, I honestly really like this cowboy hat. I literally really want to kind of get like a goth like cowboy hat now toggle. I'm like kind of obsessed. I don't know why I like this so much. I'm like way more surprised. I know I won't be having, but you guys, that's what you guys gotta have a good time for me. Cause I'll be busy. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everyone has an amazing and wonderful rest of your night. And it's filled with smiles. Bye, 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 bye. Mwah! Ashley and Chad.